There's no Torah like the Torah of Eretz Yisrael. The question is, what does that mean? What do you mean, Torah of Eretz Yisrael? It's a different book, different laws, different, God forbid, there's only one Torah from Sinai. What is this uniqueness of the Torah of Eretz Yisrael? It's so unique. There's no Torah like the Torah of Eretz Yisrael. So we saw a little bit, explanations, a little bit to elaborate on that. Again, just to orally say to you, the source, we saw the second source on the right from Baba Batra. The rabbis say there was halachic discussion and laws of inheritance. Rav Zer had a certain opinion against Rav Eila. And then it says, that he changed his mind. He came to Eretz Yisrael and he changed his mind. We see the underlined lines there on the second source on the right. Amar Rab Zera, Shema mina avirad Eretz Yisrael machkim. We see from this that the wisdom of Eretz Yisrael makes wise. This rabbi changed his opinion when he came to Eretz Yisrael. And he saw things differently. The same rabbi, the same scholar, different arguments that were added. Rab Zera says the reason was just his ascending to the land of Israel. Why? The air of Eretz Yisrael makes wise. There's something in this atmosphere that enables a different vision, a perspective. So we've talked about, I'm not going to go back all the introductions, explaining, but to summarize it quickly, it's like maybe someone standing at the top of a mountain as opposed to someone at the foot of the mountain. Who sees farther? Right, the same person, the same vision, the same intelligence, the same IQ, but the top of the mountain, he had a different perspective. We call this holistic perspective, as we'll see more in depth. This holistic view that sees all the different points, the different vantage point, objectively, the same person. But the Eretz Yisrael provides an altogether distinct Torah vision that is unattainable outside the land. The Rashi, today is the Yortzeit of Rashi, the 29th of Tammuz. Rashi explains, actually it's the Rashbam, I think, on Bava Batra, his grandson. He died in the middle, it says in Baba, I think he died here, and his grandson continued. So this is the end, this is on page 158 in Bava Batra. But nevertheless, he says, when he came to Eretz Yisrael, he stood on the truth of the matters. In other words, here he saw this different vision. So the next source, again, just for those who weren't here quickly, on the bottom, on the right, Midrash Tehillim. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chalafta gives advice to his son, Rabbi Yishmael. He says, if you wish to see the Shekhinah in this world, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, the hand of God, we live in a world of multiplicity, variety, people, things, events, history. How do we make sense of it? How do we see the oneness of God? We see the world of variety. Where is there? One God? Why is there such differences in the world? There's evil in the world. How can there be one source of it all? And it's hard to make any sense of this chaos of history. Is there any direction? Is there any hand guiding it? It's difficult to see. The Shekhinah, he says, to see it in this world. In the future, when the bodies don't block anymore, we see this holistic white light. And another metaphor we could use for this. It's like the white light before it reaches the prism, right? The white light goes to the prism and then separates, right? Diffracted to different colors, right? The spectrum. Eretz Yisrael, it provides this vision before it's diffracted, before it reaches the prism. The total white light that is all-inclusive, all-encompassing. And from there, the rest of the world we saw, right? And we say in the prayers, we said, before we read the Torah, we take out Torah, we say, from Zion goes out Torah and the word of God, Yerushalayim, like on Shabbat, I said yesterday. What's this connection? We spoke about that. That before we get to the Torah reading, we read these verses of God building Zion, and the gates of Zion, the walls of Zion, and from Zion go out Torah, the word of God from Yerushalayim. That's how it's built. God built this funnel, this channel, this intersection of this world and, let's call it, the divine beyond. Like I said, the white light before it reaches the prism. This unified view that to see, someone defined it actually, wrote a book of Cook, and he calls it the view from the roots above. The Maral also uses this metaphor of an upside down tree. The roots are above, and the branches descend into this world. But the view from the roots above, to see before the branching out, the further diffraction, that God created a place in this world where there are bridges. We spoke about this. There's bridges in the world, so to speak, to connect our world and that which is beyond. Right? In the three dimensions, the rabbis and the Kabbalah, and the Sefer Yetzirah, and the Chassidut brings down a lot. If we don't have, we have a luach here. But anyway, I would write on the, just quickly maybe. There's these, if you'll see it in like in Chassidut, Ayin Shin Nun. This stands for Olam. What does that mean, Olam? The world. That's what we call space. Shana is year. That's the dimension of time. And Nefesh is, beings, creatures, human beings, but not only. Nefesh, lively creatures. In other words, there are three dimensions, so to speak, and there are bridges to connect of space and beyond space, time and beyond space, time and beyond time. Shabbat is the bridge, so to speak, which is a element or a connection or a bridge that literally there's a illumination, a reflection of the beyond time into time. We go into Shabbat, it's not the same day. Before Shabbat, you can light a match, light afterwards, a totally universal difference of what it does to the world.
When we say beyond time, is it also beyond logic? I don't know if that matters, but...
It's beyond, it's not beyond human logic. It's the world, the reality, again, that we see in front of us. I mean, you can use the allegory of the cave of Plato, probably. Of the world, the cave, and it's all we see, the shadows. We think this is the world, this is what there is. The truth is, this is just literally an expression, extension of the true world, of the nefesh, of the spirituality. Rav Kook writes in Orot HaKodesh, there are those that mistakenly think that going from this world to holiness is going from vitality to nothingness. Like the other world, the other spirituality, that's mystical, it's theoretical, maybe there is, but this is what I see. I feel a table, I feel my body. This is the reality. And the truth is the opposite. What we see here is just a mild, like I said, shadows of a reflection of the true entity, the true essence, the true eternal existence is, call it divide. There's levels and levels. It's hard to, the rabbis talk about 4 worlds, 4 levels, but there's levels of existence from the creator that created this world, but that's the real reality. What we see here is like so meager, so tension, so, ephemeral, it's so temporary. This is a meager, again, expression of that lofty, of true, eternal existence. And our goal, that we're created in this world, God lowered the souls to be in this world. The rabbis say in the Midrash Tanchuma that God wishes to have his dwelling place in this world. You think it's so far off, it's so meaningless, no. It doesn't cause to abandon, like some other religions. There are Rav Kook writes also about these 4 aspirations. The Buddhists, to get rid of this world is nothing, is me, it's to escape to some nirvana, not the physical, not the spiritual, as if to escape it all. The Christianity says, no, the spiritual the holiness is in some spiritual world, a godly world, and this world is full of sin, is evil, is material, and the best you can do, if you could, is to leave this world as much as possible. Vows of celibacy, right, to live in the monastery, a monk, to leave this, not to participate in this world which causes sin and evil. As if the body, the physical, is a disaster, is, again, their original sin, what they call it. This world is doomed, right? The first Christians or Jews that ran away from society, that felt that society doesn't let you build holiness, connect to spirituality. So they went off to the caves of Yamamelach down south to start Asians, right? To be what they felt was holiness is found separate from the physical world. And Judaism, the Torah Lahavdil, that God created heaven and earth, soul and body. That God wishes to reveal himself, that good that permeates all. Even the farthest, most remote aspect, God is not limited to some, like from the spiritual up and like the Christianity, and from here down to the devil. That's why Christianity is idolatry. It's if limiting that duality of godliness, as God is up to here, and from now here, from the body, the physicality is, again, the devil is in charge there. Separation of church and state. By Torah, the ideal is the unification of the realization, the manifestation, and the full expression, the infusion of holiness in life, in this world, with the body. For that we have to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, not monks. To be a nation that lives not only individual holiness, the more difficult is challenging is in society, when you have government and politics and army and enemies from within. How to live holiness and morality and goodness in that. That's the goal of Am Yisrael, to manifest a living expression of that holiness in this world. For that, God created a very special soul in the nefesh level, whatever. That light of the nation of Israel has that special, not like people that we volunteer to take upon ourselves that nice mission to unify heaven and earth, to be holy people. Non-Jews can be holy and spiritual and moral. But God created this unique life source that is the source of a national entity that comes down to this world to live holiness as a nation. And again, from that extends all to in our individual lives, the Torah and the commandments. But the main thing of Am Yisrael, as we mention often the verse in Yeshayahu 43:21, right? Those that are with me a lot, we know the source. Am zu yatzarti li tilati yisaperu. Yeshayahu 43:21, that you should know by heart. Rabbi Tzviuda of Kook used to also mention it a lot, you'll see it. This nation have I created unto me to say my name in the world. There's a created entity, not a volunteer that anyone can volunteer and say, again, to be holy and religious, yes, spiritually, or morally, but not as a nation. No nation can live that its source of life, what it thrives on, what drives it as a nation, is this drive for holiness, the drive for cleaving to Hashem in this world. That's not our doing. It's not our Am zu yatzarti. This nation have I created to me, to bring this name into this world. And as we'll see, that's connected to what we're getting to here, that the Torah and Eretz Yisrael is the place that enables us to live and fulfill that collective goal. Outside the land, that name of God, that holiness, cannot be expressed, as we saw before this in Yechezkel 36, right? Outside the land of Israel, it's considered a Chilul Hashem, the desecration of God's name. His name cannot be fully expressed. This name, what is the name of God? The divine ideal. That's the neshama of Am Yisrael. This encapsulated spiritual ideal for creation is the life force of our collective existence. And that can be revealed in a body, a national body. And where? In a certain place. Again, Eretz Yisrael is the place, that world, we talked about place, that enables that unification, that holy soul to be revealed, that in other words, life of the nation, of the Jewish people can be fully expressed as a nation in the land of Israel. As it says in Yeshayahu 42, Noten neshama la'am aleha. I give the neshama to this nation upon the land. This neshama has certain requirements, in other words, places where it can thrive, like the Kuzari talks about. Certain trees grow in certain places, wine and then grape, whatever. Certain climates grow certain things. Eretz Yisrael is the place, what he calls the place of Nevuah, the place of the cleavage to Hashem, the place where this neshama can be revealed. Noten neshama, I give this soul to the nation in this land. Then our life force can be expressed. When we're fractured, God forbid, a person in a hospital, on the kidney machine, the lung machine, you say he's a liar. He's in pieces, but his neshama, his personality, cannot be revealed when he's broken. The rabbis say the Shekhinah cannot be revealed in a broken place. The Shekhinah, the divine presence, this divine ideal, all the words for the same thing, this spiritual goodness, of godliness that comes to this world is revealed through a receptacle of the nation of Israel and the land of Israel. But more than that, independent, we'll see that. We saw that, I think. The Jewish, three conditions. For the Jewish people, independent in the land of Israel. And then our soul thrives. Our soul can now, like I said, our personality can be revealed. What's our personality? Our inner personality, our collective personality. The soul, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, divine ideal, the name of God. That's why the exile is by definition a Chilul Hashem, the inability to express that name of God. The Jews can be religious, and were religious outside of Israel. Rabbis, we'll see but the soul, the name of God that is revealed, that the condition for which it comes to the certain bridge that God created. There's objective reality. He created this place that enables this soul to be revealed through this nation, and then we thrive physically, spiritually. We see we're coming back to it. That's the redemption process of coming back to the land, and the first stages of the physical development, the nation, government, economy, security. And then more and more, when the body is strong, then that neshama, that spiritual life force can be revealed. And then what the world will see soon, When Am Yisrael comes back to its spiritual blessing to give to the world, it's not for us. What does it say to the fathers? That through Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, each one was blessed. The nations of the world will be blessed through you. This is this bridge that God created. It's not for us, so to speak. It's this bridge that enables this, what all man is looking for. Mankind is created with this Selim Elohim, right? The image of God. Man is in search of God. Because how do you find him? Look him here, look there. Man has different ideas. What we call them different religions are founded upon the search of man for God. You find him there, or again, we said that Buddhism, whatever, that gives up the search, there's no point of searching. Or atheism, forget the search, there's no God, there's no source, just live and eat and be merry, whatever. There's no, stop searching. It's frustrating. How do you find God? There's no answer, where do you look? But God created, like it says that he came down on Sinai. God came down in Sinai and revealed himself and made this bridge or ladder, right? The word Sinai, right? What do you want? Sinai is the same numerical equivalent of, what's a sulam? A ladder. Sinai, the rabbis say, is like the word ladder. The sulam, but God made this bridge, this ladder to connect. Otherwise, man, how can you get to the beyond? How can you get something beyond, like you said, human logic and wisdom in this world? We have what we have. This is what we have. Man is made of material, of matter. But there's also a soul. And that soul, that ability to connect, God created certain bridges that enable, 3 dimensions we said, that enable this connection. So a lot to talk about, again, Am Yisrael in the world and the function, but here I want to specifically, so the Torah in Eretz Yisrael, there is this bridge that before the light comes to the world, before it's diffracted into different pieces, it's an objective reality. It's not you can learn the same book outside land of Israel and in Israel. You can, like the person at the bottom of the mountain and the top of the mountain, but he sees something totally different. So what does the rabbi give his advice, Rav Yossi, to his son? You want to see the Shekhinah in this world. You want to see that oneness of God, the transcending in this world. What is the bridge? How do you make that connection? He tells him, Asok b'Torah be'Eretz Yisrael. Learn Torah Machon Meir in Eretz Yisrael. Torah in Eretz Yisrael is that bridge that enables that seeing the Shekhinah. We mentioned last time, the chaos of the world, the events, and how do you know what's the important things of history? Where is it going? We said remember last week, 2 weeks? We said like a Dado game, or the connect the dots game. Right? The dots are numbered, and if you connect the dots, you end up with a picture. Otherwise, you see just a page of dots. But if you connect the numbers, if you know how to connect them, you end up with a beautiful picture. History, the world to see the hand of God in history, it takes a certain vision, a perspective that enables you. A lot to talk about that, but he wanted to move on to the next source on the left column. The Sifri, which is the Midrash Halacha on the book of the end of Bamidbar and Dvarim. Right, there's a Midrash Agadah and there's Midrash Halacha, the Mechilta and Shmot. And Vayikra, there's the Sifra, and the Sifri is on the end of Bamidbar and the book of Dvarim. Nevertheless, it says here, verse from, I have it here translated, Mishlei, that the highest part of the dust of Tevel, Rosh Afrot Tevel, that's Eretz Yisrael. What is this dust of the word? What is this Tevel? What does that mean? So the Gemara, the rabbis ask, Tevel zu Eretz Yisrael. This is Eretz Yisrael. And Lama Zinikra Tevel. Why is Eretz Yisrael called Tevel? The name of Tavlin. What's a Tavlin? Spice. A spice. Why is Eretz Yisrael called Tevel? Because of the spice, the unique spice shebetocha. There's a unique spice only found in Eretz Yisrael. Something that grows here that is only found in Eretz Yisrael. What is that? Ezu Tavlin shebetocha. What is this unique thing that is found only in Eretz Yisrael? Zot Torah. Torah. And the rabbis bring the verse that it says in Echa, chapter 2, Bagoyim en Torah. Amongst the Goyim there is no Torah. Right? It says there, her king and her princes are among the nations. There's no Torah. What do you mean there's no Torah? You think no Torah, meaning the non-Jews don't have Torah, didn't receive it at Sinai, whatever. But no. What do the rabbis conclude? What does it mean amongst the nations? Not amongst the people. Mikan Torah Eretz Yisrael. From here we see the Torah is in Eretz Yisrael. Now outside of Israel, in the lands of the nations, there's no Torah. From here we see the Torah is in Eretz Yisrael. Again, people have learned Torah rabbis for 2,000 years outside of Israel, great rabbis, scholars. What does it mean that there's no Torah like the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, or the Torah is in Eretz Yisrael? Now we have to, again, explain a little bit deeper. Here there's a Gemara from the Talmud Bavli, the second source on the left. This is, again, from the Talmud Bavli. Right, we have the Talmud Yerushalmi redacted in Eretz Yisrael, and 100 years later, the Jews were exiled more, and we had the oral law continued in Babylonia, and ultimately redacted by Rav Ashi, Ravina. After the Talmud Yerushalmi, that we have the Talmud Bavli that we learned extensively throughout the exile. Also the Talmud Yerushalmi we have, but it's more, let's say, we'll see why, it's a little bit more cryptic, so to speak, and unfortunately it was neglected. Not totally, the rabbis knew the Talmud Yerushalmi, a lot of sources. The Rambam, he says a lot of times he goes by the Yerushalmi. But the popular yeshiva learning is mainly in the Talmud Bavli. Although Rav Goren and the others that started to return and to come back to revitalize, or to come back and remember it, to go back to studying the Talmud Yerushalmi. It's the same rabbi sometimes, the same thing, they went back and forth. That we'll talk about when we continue. The difference between, but here, in the Talmud Bavli, now the rabbis in Babylonia, not in Eretz Yisrael, they bring this source, the verse from Yirmiyahu. It says, V'dama, in chapter 13, V'dama tidma v'tered eini dima. My eye shall shed tears and run down with tears. 3 tears here. Because the flock of God was taken into captivity. What does that mean? That's the verse in Yirmiyahu. The rabbis say on that in the Talmud, again, Talmud Bavli, Chagiga, page 5b. Rabbi Elazar said, Shalosh demot halalu lama. What are these 3 tears? It's not just a repetition. What are these? I cried, as if God has cried. What are these 3 tears? What are they crying for? 1, Al Mikdash Rishon. 1 tear is for the first temple that was destroyed next week on Tisha B'Av. V'chad Al Mikdash Sheni. Another one was on the second temple, also destroyed in Tisha B'Av. V'chat al Yisrael shegalu mimkomam. And the 3rd tier is on the Jews that were exiled from their place. The rabbis say, and the other opinion says, no, the 3rd tier is on Bitul Torah. What is Bitul Torah? Distraction, the neglect of Torah, the not learning Torah, the negation of Torah, the Bitul, the opposite of existence, of non-existence of Torah. So what is that? So the Gemara asks on that, on the second opinion. He says, Bishlema, the first opinion makes sense. The Jews are exiled from their place, because that's what's written in the verse. I cry, tears, because the flock of God, the Jewish people, were taken into captivity. The Jews were exiled from their place. That's in the verse. You see the tears. The temple, it doesn't explicit, but that's what the rabbis say. The first temple, the second temple, but the 3rd is explicit in the verse. The flock of God taken into captivity. That's for the first opinion. But the rabbi that says, Bitul Torah, how does he learn that out from the flock of God taken into captivity? What's it got to do with Bitul Torah? Look at the answer of the Gemara. It's underlined in your sheets, not in the Gemara. Kevan shegalu Yisrael mimkoman, ein lecha bitul Torah gadol mizeh. Since the Jews were exiled from their place, from Eretz Yisrael, that's their place, you have no greater loss of Torah than this. No greater bitul Torah. And this is the rabbis in Bavel, not some Zionist propaganda. The rabbis say this, and written in Talmud Bavli, that since the Jews were exiled, that's why it's in the verse. The verse said, my flock was taken into captivity, and that's the Jews in exile. But the rabbi said that's the crying for what's the ramification and the outcome of the Jews in exile. Kevan, since they're exiled, you have no greater loss of Torah than this. What do you mean loss of Torah? Like I said, these rabbis learn Torah, the Talmud Bavli. We study, we learn, and the laws from this. What does it mean, the Bitul Torah, just by being in exile? So here we have to get a little bit deeper and understand what is Torah. Again, the book you can read and learn, and it was learned and was studied, it is studied outside of Israel. Giants of Torah, the rabbis that wrote this, redacted the Talmud Bavli. So what does it mean? There's the Bitul Torah. All the things above, that here the Torah is in Eretz Yisrael, not outside the land. The Torah, again, is not just the first level we'll talk about, maybe, explain quickly. These things need a lot more elaboration. But let's say the Torah is the book of laws, the divine ideal, like I said, that is directed to a nation, to live the Jewish people. The Maharal writes in Tiferet Yisrael, chapter 17 and 21, why the Torah wasn't given to the fathers, holy people, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, our forefathers. The Torah was given to the nation when we became a nation, 600,000 Jews. At Sinai, then the Torah was given. He says the address of the Torah is the nation. That's the vehicle that accepts, that receives, that is built to receive it. It's not just you can give it to anyone and read the books, it's on the shelf. The Torah was given, the divine directive, so to speak, of how to connect life, how to connect this world to something beyond. But there's also a receptacle that it created that is built to receive it and live it. That's their life force. It's not a voluntary thing. Other people can volunteer. But to live it, to have it as an intrinsic, inherent, essential basis of life, that is the reason of their existence, the inner reason of their drive to live is to fulfill and to receive and express that Torah. For that he created, like I said before, in Yeshayahu 43:21, this nation have I created to say my name, to bring my name, to receive and express my name in this world, this ideal in this world, to transcend the borders and to bring down the name of God, this goodness, holiness to this world in order to raise this world, right? The nation of Israel starts from beyond this world, comes into this world to raise this world beyond this world. The world will be freed from the limitations we have today. What we have today is not the final project. God created the world, didn't finish. He created it, he says, La'asot, Bara Hashem La'asot, in Bereshit. He created it to a certain point, and now man is supposed to complete it and bring it to its ultimate completion and perfection. That is this, is the blueprint, so to speak, the DNA of the nation of Israel, that he created and able to bring that, to transcend that, the borders, in order to bring that otherworldly content into this world. But for the sake of the good of all, the getting rid of evil, the getting rid of suffering, certainly of death, and of things that we think are certain things are not in our hands. We can be better, more moral. But who says you can change all of mankind? Who says everyone will agree with you? There's still evil people in the world. Or even if everyone agrees. But who said you can change certain things? Disease, death. That way you can be all as you can want, but you're immortal. But that's not the way the world is. That's not God's ideal. What he wants for the world, this infinite source of life, the spiritual, comes down, this continuum, down to the body. The body will become immortal. What it was meant to be, what it was supposed to be, the sin of Adam Rishon, etc., that caused this separation. We're coming to bring the world back to what it's supposed to be, and beyond what Adam Rishon, what he was supposed to do even more, and break it higher. And instead of that, he put a barrier between that, call it the spiritual life force, and what we call the world. What I said before about the world, right? The word world, olam, is from the root of helem, hidden. This world conceals the divine. We don't see godliness. We see matter. Although now they're getting closer to understanding matter and energy equals mc squared, that the connection of matter isn't just so matter, it's full of energy, it's full of matter, isn't so, it's like nothing. The electron compared to the nucleus compared to the electron goes in a giant orbit. The nucleus is like one, I don't know how many tiny amount of this electron. So most of the existence is nothing, is air, is whatever. But nevertheless, and light, or the word light is the gematria of Raz, secret. They said, the Maharal explained that light is like the most spiritual material existence in this world, the spiritual matter. It's on the border of matter and energy and light. Which they're getting, like Niels Bohr and Einstein had the argument, is light a wave or a particle? Is it a wave, a particle, or something? Is it a wave? It has both. And anyway, the world is getting closer and understanding more and more that there's more than meets the eye. Rav Kook says in the future we're going to have so many more senses. We pick up the world now with 5 senses. That's what we have. All that we know of the world, all that we pick up, we have 5 senses, what we can touch and see, and we're convinced that's all there is. Because that's all we see. That's all we pick up. But now there's more. Can you imagine? Like a blind person sees the world with the senses that he has and doesn't see certain things that we see. But the world is there, outside of his perception. So too, we're going to have multiple senses, many more. I think hundreds or thousands of senses. We'll see much more of the reality. It's not some mystical thing. It's real. But to us, it seemed like before, it seems to us mystical, maybe unrealistic. Maybe you believe in some spiritual world, the godliness. But that's the more reality. You're just so locked in your cave of Plato, right? The cave, and you think that's the world. This is all there is. But there's so much more. the beauty of the world, the grandeur, the spirituality, the goodness of the world. And that's what we're connecting this world, not just to abandon this world, to connect this world, to reveal that spiritual world in this world. For that he created a nation that comes down from that divine essence, that soul of the Jewish people, comes into this world in a physical body. But Mark Twain asks, right, the Jewish people, the immortality. We've seen all the nations rise and fall, and the Jewish people saw them all, beat them all. What is the secret of the immortality? And that's the secret, that we're not a bunch of matter that comes together in a nation, a man-made nation. It's our source of life, the eternal source, is the divine, eternal source that comes into this world, that gives life to the Jewish people throughout history, but it doesn't start from this world. That's why it's immortal, our source, our neshama, the Shekhinah, the Jewish people. Nevertheless, getting back to, so the Torah was addressed to the Jewish people in the land of Israel, living in the land of Israel, like we said. Then outside the land, they're fractured and scattered. They can't express that national life. They can't express that soul. So in the deeper understanding, the Torah is, the rabbis say, is the name of God. Again, I can't give all the sources now. The Torah, the Ramban at the beginning of the introduction to the Torah, his commentary. The Torah from the Brachot and Gemara talks about how the name of God is the Torah. And that's the Neshama of Am Yisrael. Nefesh Chaim elaborates in section 4 how the soul of Jewish people is that Torah, this divine ideal, this like I said, this chunk of, I call it physics, it's not a physical chunk. What it says in the book of Dvarim, which we'll see soon, in chapter 32, Chelak Hashem Amo, the portion of God is the Jewish people, is the nation of Israel. It's this portion of God, is this godliness that is sent into this worldliness. It comes from above this world, that comes into this world to raise this world beyond this world. But that's the most real. Our source is what is eternal. Jews, God, unfortunately, can be killed of the physical mortality, but the soul, the life force that infuses and gives life to the nation throughout history, that's what's immortal. And that is this divine name, that is the Torah. In other words, when the Jews are outside the land, this neshama can't come to expression. Because like I said, the neshama, I give the neshama to the nation on the land of Israel. This, in other words, making it mathematical, so to speak, the Torah is the name of God. The name of God, that's the Torah is the neshama of Am Yisrael. Outside the land of Israel, you have no greater bitul Torah than this. You have no greater inability to fully express the name of God, that neshama, the Torah, outside of Israel. Not the book learning. Rabbis and scholars, geniuses throughout history. But since the Jews are exiled from it, you have no greater bitul Torah than this. The manifestation of the Torah, the divine ideal. You have no greater cancellation of the expression of the divine ideal than this, when the Jews are outside of Israel. Like again, Yechezkel calls it the desecration of God's name. Yechezkel 36. In Yechezkel 37, he calls it, what does he call the exile? The graveyard, right? The dry bones prophecy. The Jews are outside the land. I'll bring you back to the land. I'll bring the bones together. No, but first, what does he say there? I'll take you out of the graves and bring you back to the land of Israel. So what are the graves? I'll bring you in the graves. I'll bring you out of the grave, the Marabim and others explain the Vilna Gaon. The graves of the Chutzlah, outside the land of Israel. I'll bring you out of the grave. Because there you can't express your life. The Jews are alive. Like I said, the person in the hospital, on the kidney machine, the lung machine, what? I'm alive. He thinks he's doing okay. What am I missing? I have that Los Angeles Times article. There's nothing an Orthodox Jew needs that isn't here. What am I missing? Shabbat, kashrut, they told LA how many kosher delis. And what are we missing? Although now they're not so easy there. Yeah, all over. But so what we're missing is the ability to express our collective national soul, our collective national life. And what is that life of the Jewish people? That's the Torah, that's the Neshama, that's the Shekhinah, that's the divine ideal. When it says in Yechezkel 36, when you're outside the land, you're desecrating my name, you're destroying the expression. What do you mean? I'm doing the mitzvot. But your presence there objectively prevents the full expression of the neshama, of my name in the world. So to here, being outside, kevan shegalu, not because they're doing things bad in Israel, they're not learning Torah in America. Because they're exiled from their place, there's a place that enables this life to be revealed. When they're exiled from their place, ein lecha bitul Torah gadol mizeh. Essentially, inherently, the fact that you're exiled from your place, you have no greater loss of, I would add the word, expression of my name, of the Torah in the world than this. You have nothing greater, no loss in this. There's much more to talk about, again, to explain this, of how severe this is, how serious it is, because people hear this source and, well, how can you say the rabbis He's not a scholar, he's not a rabbi, he knows, and he knows more than you. It's not a matter of knowing, it's not a matter of Torah study. Erudite scholars. I think we saw the source before this. I don't want to say it so much in public. It's the Gemara, it's the end of Ketuvot, but those that weren't here, it's a very strong source that the rabbis say about the Jews outside the land of Israel, including rabbis and scholars. Because in objective reality, it's not a matter of how smart you are, how rabbinic you are, how holy you are, how religious you are. We're talking about the objective loss, so to speak, to God's name. Again, Yechezkel 33, you can't get more explicit than this. Since you're outside the land, it is desecrating my holy name. My name, the whole goal of creation is being withheld by the fact that you're outside, doing the mitzvot, whatever, individuals, but that's not the vehicle that receives and expresses my big name. And Yechezkel emphasizes the argument. Emphasize over and over again. You just for my big name's sake and my holy name, the big name of God. Every mitzvah you do in New York is also it sanctifies God's name, brings light into the world. But the individual level, but the main goal of Am Yisrael is to be just that, a nation of Israel, a kingdom of priests, what it says before the Ten Commandments, you'll be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Non-Jews can be also holy individuals. The uniqueness and your main mission in the world is to be a holy nation that brings down the full name, the white light, not pieces of light all over the world. To bring this white light, the totality, here it's called the Torah, in Yechezkel it's called the name of God. That name of God has a specific receptacle, like that before, the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And Yechezkel says there, God says to Yechezkel the prophet, when you're outside the land, you desecrate my holy name. Therefore, I'm bringing you back. Why? Because you're religious and you're all worthy and you all did the mitzvot in New York? No. I'm bringing you back. Why?
For my name.
What?
For my name. For
my name's sake. Because my name is at stake here. I waited 1,000, 2,000 years for you to better your ways. Then indeed you would come back in the beautiful way, nicely, and rebuild the receptacle of my name in the world. But I can't take it anymore. My name will be expressed in the world. God's ideal will be manifest. Now, we can't hold that up. We can hold it up time-wise, in other words. But not if it comes. When it comes and how it comes depends on us. But not if. There's a time that God said, that's it. I'm not waiting anymore. Why? For my name's sake. For my ideal. My ideal requires you to be in the land of Israel. And I'll start bringing you back with or without your agreement or being worthy. But here, and again, you had a question first.
Yeah, I had a question because the rabbis, serious, obviously, Orthodox rabbis,
know these sorts.
In Galut, whether in Babel or in Los Angeles, I don't think they could disagree with this. They would just say the timing isn't right. Right?
What do you mean? It doesn't say here.
Ultimately believe our purpose is here. But they're saying, just like the people who, after the Meraglim, who went at the wrong time, right? They wouldn't say, no, our purpose is to remain in Galut indefinitely.
Nachon. Ultimately, we all have the same Torah that says the ideal is to come back to Eretz Yisrael. But that's a deeper question, in other words, more elaborated. When they saw that the movement that returned the Jewish people 200 years ago dominated by people that weren't religious, then they felt, no, we can't participate in that. And that was how to approach this new movement of coming back when it's not worthy and it's not holy. Although Yechezkel 36 says there explicitly, God telling Yechezkel, right, that I'm bringing you back even though you're not worthy. Yes, there'll be a phenomenon that you'll be coming back, and not because you're so worthy. Now, if you look on the outside, you'll see people that aren't worthy, and you say, oh, I don't want to be part of this. But God says that's one of the options. That's what's taking place. The rabbis even say more than that one of the signs, they forewarned us that there's a different generation throughout history. There's a generation that's good on the inside, good on the outside. Good inner, strong soul, spirituality, and good behavior. There's something that have a rotten core and also a rotten behavior. The generation of the Mashiach, it says, has a very special, lofty core, holy core, and it's evil on the outside. The behavior is the opposite. You have some child that's a good kid, or a genius that's failing and whatever, like Einstein. Or you have a child that's and he's rotten, and he's doing all these bad things. Why? Either because he's a rotten kid, he's rotten in inside and rotten on the outside. No, but if you understand, there's a time when there's a good kid, but he's looking for more, he's demanding higher understanding and level, he's not getting what he needs, so he rebels. But he's rebelling out of not because of the evil core, like cut off the whole thing. If you cut off, negate the whole thing, but there's an unbelievable soul that is now pushing and coming back, and it requires a new level to advance, not to try to force him back to childhood, but to bring him to adulthood that he's searching for now. But the simple approach is, they're evil, they're doing bad, cut off their arms and legs, and we'll have to avoid these things. But the idea is to understand what is taking place here. There's a neshama, that divinely infused neshama that is now bringing the Jews back from within. I would call it not subconscious, we call it the superconscious level. The super neshama is now demanding its expression. God's name inside of us is now demanding its expression, meaning requires us to come back to the land. So the Jews feel that, this pull, each one explaining it on the rational level with his secular, anti-religion, no God, it's just me. But nevertheless, what we see is this phenomenon, if you understand what we mentioned before, seeing the Shekhinah, seeing the hand of God, and what's behind all this? All these different reasons coming out for emotional reasons, historical reasons. My grandmother's here, I have some. Everyone has different reasons for why they're coming back. But if you see the underneath, the neshama is now demanding its expression, is now waking up to return to the Jews back to the land of Israel.
Usually it's forced from above.
Okay.
I mean, the expulsion of Russian Jews.
Right, it comes with the outside bug.
So
right, but what is it coming to expression though is this inner good neshama. But the outside is so evil. But the rabbis forewarned us, yes. If you judge by the outside, you'll totally misjudge and misguide.
I'm not going to say so evil. It's a mixed bag.
But this child, I'm saying, has a very unbelievable core that is divinely infused to come back and bring them back. That's not enough to stay at that point. We have to bring them to the next level of understanding of what we are, how to live according to that super soul. But if you're judged by only the external, the rabbis tell us ahead of time, in Tikkun Ezor, that you'll be totally misunderstand what's going on. And therefore, I'm against this. How can I be part of secular Zionism? So yes, the rabbis know and read these things. There's other sources we said before that of the Jews and outside of Israel, how what the Talmud likens them to.
Babel also rabbis.
Okay. So I'm saying that it's always the question comes up, what the rabbis don't know what you're saying here. They didn't read this.
They have to the only thing they can think of is the timing they can think. They can't deny.
Okay, there's different reasons. I said, you said it, the prototype of the sin of the spies is also one of the, but nevertheless, wait, there's so much more. I just wanted to conclude here. Later we'll see there's more sources of how this also manifests itself on the personal level, how it affects the individual study of Torah. In other words, this idea of the collective soul cannot be revealed when it's outside the land. The Torah is addressed to a nation. When outside the nation is fractured. There's no national framework, government, army. So the Torah is fractured into pieces. It doesn't have a whole, body to reveal through. But there also has ramifications on the individual level. We'll see in the next few sources, also from the Talmud Bavli and other sources. And then we'll see also the ramifications of how this Torah, hopefully we'll see, I guess with the shiur next week, before we can maybe fix this into the spies and be understanding and the greatness of the Eretz Yisrael, the centrality and the amazingness, and then utilize it and hope bring it to expression that all the nations will recognize what our job is here, to be this kingdom of priests and holy nations and holy individuals, to be this blessing for all of mankind, all of existence, to bring the final redemption, B'ezrat Hashem, soon in our days.
According to the Sufi record,